Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean. I'm Dana White. I blog over at aslobcomesclean.com. That's where I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out ways to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people who don't necessarily love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 108, and I am calling it What Makes How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind different from other books about cleaning and organizing. That's right. It's pretty much a hard sell. So if you hate that kind of stuff, I'll be back next week, probably with something different. Anyway, but I'm going to talk specifically about what is it that makes my new book, which comes out on Tuesday, November 8th, which as of the moment when I'm recording this is 5 days away. What makes it different from other cleaning and organizing books, okay? Anyway, but before I do that, let me just make sure you understand that the time is running out for you to get the pre-order bonuses that are available. If you pre-order, you can pre-order wherever books are sold in any format. You can do Kindle, iBooks, Nook, audiobook. I think it's on Audible, whatever. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, paperback, whatever format you like to read in, this book is going to be available. So anyway, and I'm also going to tell you that some people have already gotten theirs, people who pre-ordered. Evidently, it's only like Harry Potter that, people have to sign something that they will forever be shamed or whatever if they let a book out early. So it's out. The official release date is November 8th. And I know that, anyway, so go pre-order it, get that, and claim your pre-order bonuses. You do not automatically get them. They do not come along with your book because that's not how that works. I have no access to information about you on whatever place where you pre-order the book, which actually should make you feel good that people don't have access to that information. Publisher doesn't. But so you come over to my site. I will link to it in the show notes. It's also there directly underneath the header. And it's there for you to pre-order. Okay. So, it's there for you to fill out the form. That is the only way to get the pre-order bonuses is to fill out the form. They are digital. So you will immediately be taken to a link that after you submit your information, that will, get you 14 days to opening your front door to guests. That is an ebook that is exclusively available as a pre-order bonus at this point. Then you will also get printable habit reminders. There are phone screensavers, computer screensavers, printables with the 4 habits on them, and then access to an exclusive 4-week book club in a private Facebook group. So that will start November 15th. So anyway, yes, I just advertised all that, and now I'm going to talk about the book, okay? Because this is a question that totally makes sense, and I've gotten it. Basically, I'm going to answer 2 different questions. First of all, what makes this book different than all the other cleaning and organizing books you may have read over the years? And then also, what makes it different from my own Drowning in Clutter and 28 Days and Teaching Kids to Clean and different things that I've written and what I've written on the blog and all that. So, okay, here we go. What makes it different? Well, the main thing that makes it different is the perspective it's written from, mine. Okay. Unless this is your first podcast, you know that I do not have the brain of the typically organized person. Okay. The dirty little secret about most organizing advice is that it's written by organized people. That's who usually likes to talk about organizing. I resisted talking about cleaning and organizing for years because, hello, it's me and it's not my thing. But this is where I was brought to through my own desperate attempt to get my own home under control and chronicling that on what was a totally secret blog in the beginning. Okay. So in the beginning, it was just going to be temporary. I was going to get my house under control. And then I was going to start blogging about the stuff I was actually good at that I wanted to talk about. But that grew because number one, I realized that I was absolutely not alone in this struggle. There were a lot of people out there who had the same struggle, but even still, I had no intention of actually like telling other people how to organize their homes because, I mean, come on, it's me. But over time, honestly, it was a spiritual battle for me that I came to this point where I was like, okay, so basically I have people asking me to help them. And the only thing keeping me from helping other people was that I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to talk about cleaning and organizing from an instructional perspective because it's me. I mean, I don't know how else to say that other than this just is like the last thing in the world that I would have ever thought I would be talking about. But here we are. That's what I talk about. And it was a process for me of realizing, I mean, my whole point of wanting to write and blog in the beginning was to encourage women and help women. Well, it turned out this was the area, because of my ridiculously unique perspective of being the person to whom it does not come naturally, that this was the area where I was most able to accomplish that goal. Okay. So how is it different? It's written from the perspective of someone to whom this stuff doesn't come naturally. So if you are someone to whom this stuff does not come naturally, then this book is written from your perspective, but by someone who has figured it out. Okay. And I haven't figured it out because I'm so incredibly brilliant. I've figured it out because I've had the luxury of blogging about it for 7 years and analyzing daily every little thought. And yes, I'm an obsessive person who does crazy things like blog about something and work to build a blog about something that I didn't want anybody to know about. I know I have issues. Believe me, I get it. But I have this, that's been my luxury, has been being able to analyze it so deeply. And my gift, honestly, is teaching. That is where my natural abilities lie. They don't lie in cleaning and organizing, but they do lie in teaching. They also, part of my specific gift as a teacher is breaking things down, explaining things that people just naturally look at and assume, oh, well, that either comes naturally or it doesn't. Instead, me going, okay, let's break this down and say, how can we work on this and build this skill? Okay. I was a theater arts teacher. Yes, there are people who were born to act. I was kind of one of those people. I'm not saying I'm the best actor in the world, but that was me. I was born with the desire and I was born with the flair for it and all that. But I have also seen the people who just ended up in a theater arts class, had no intention whatsoever of doing anything other than fulfilling the credit that they needed, and then learning how to act, like getting on stage, and maybe not just getting on stage and, oh my goodness, I was good at this and I didn't know it, but instead learning and building this skill. It's possible. Okay. And that is just how my teacher brain works. I look at things as, how can I teach this so that anybody can do it? Okay. So that's the perspective that it's written from. Honestly, that is the biggest thing. The other things that I'm going to talk about, is it's written from ground zero starting point or whatever. I'm not actually sure what ground zero means. I don't know. Anyway, if it means starting point of like absolutely having nothing, that's what it means to me in my situation of me talking right now. Okay. It is starting you from that. And that is where I believe, from my own experience in reading other books on cleaning and organizing, which I am not knocking. Oh my goodness. I am a huge fan of you reading whatever book comes across your path. Go ahead and read it and you will gain things from it. And you never know which thing is going to click in your brain. But what makes this specifically different is I am really truly taking people from a point where I was of just being completely mind-boggled and overwhelmed and looking around and saying, I don't get how this happens. I especially don't get how it doesn't happen in other people's homes. Why is my house like this all the time and other people's houses aren't? Okay. Here's where I believe that the part of the frustration, and I'm only speaking from my own experience, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying my own experience was I always felt like when an organized person told me where to start, they couldn't imagine my actual starting point. Okay. And that was where I would get frustrated before I even started. And that was where I would get skeptical and want to just throw things away and say, well, there's no hope for me because, whatever somebody's claiming as the starting point is like, yeah, it would take me a year to get to that point. Okay. So starting from a place of totally being overwhelmed, that's where I'm starting you from in this book. Now, I've had pre-readers who are not completely disorganized or completely overwhelmed who have said that it helps them identify the basics, okay? Because we all get overwhelmed. We all are people who, hold on just a second. That was my husband texting to say he was coming over. And so I was like, going to pause real quick and say, hey, I'm recording a podcast. Maybe not right now, okay? Anyway, we all just, it's a fact that we get too busy and overwhelmed, and you add motherhood to any level of organization and it makes organization way harder. That's one of the big laughs that I always get from when I speak. I spoke yesterday to this lovely group of women, and one of the laughs I always get is when I say, I'm like, I for some reason assumed that being a mother would make me naturally organized. Now I get what a ridiculous joke that is, because even organized people, when they become a mother, then struggle with organizational issues that they never had before. Okay. So whatever your level of organization, this book, my goal is that it breaks it down to the absolute basics. These are the things that, let's just get down to the point. Okay. Let's don't talk about all these lovely pie in the sky. Wouldn't it be great if this was neatly perfect all the time? Let's just get down to the basics. What absolutely has to happen? That's kind of my personality type anyway. And especially as a mom where I'm like, yeah, I have too much going on to talk about all the what ifs and the things that would be great. Let's just tell me what do I actually have to do? Okay. And that's the perspective the book is written from. Other things about it, is okay. So how is it different from the content that I have already shared in the past on the blog or in Drowning in Clutter or 28 Days to Hope for Your Home or whatever? As you know, 28 Days to Hope for Your Home has not been available for almost a year now, and that is because it is included as an appendix in the book. It starts on page 199. Okay, so until page 199, nothing is copy pasted. And that is the only thing that's copy pasted. And the reason it's in there, honestly, is I told the publisher, I said, you know what? I said, I want to write a book that explains exactly how to go from completely overwhelmed, what to do next, how to build on that, how to keep it sustainable. I want to write a book that explains all of that. However, it would be a disservice if I tell them all the hows and the whys and the explanations, but then I don't give them the step-by-step guide that's already in existence, okay? Because if you've done 28 Days to Hope for Your Home, you know it works. Even if you only get through page or day 3, it improves your house, okay? Even if you only get through day 1, it improves your house. Like that is tested and proven, okay, by thousands and thousands of people. And so I didn't want them to have the book and then not have that. Like I don't like to read a book that just makes me want to go out and buy other books. Okay. I wanted everything to be included in this book. Everything you need is in this book. Okay. That is beginning to end how to get your house, how to manage your home without losing your mind. I should call it that. Oh, wait, I did. Okay. Let's see. So how is it different from the content that's already on the blog? Well, okay. So when I started meeting with the publisher, that was one of their questions. That was one of their things. That's the world of publishing is an interesting place, and it's definitely a changed place since online publishing and self-publishing has been a thing for the last however many years. And they just said, okay, so, what's going to be new content? What's going to be new stuff that has never been seen before anywhere else? And I was like, you know what? I only talk about reality-based cleaning and organizing. And what I mean by that is I show how it actually works. Because I'm figuring out how it actually works on the blog. I said, so for me to put stuff in the book that I have never, ever mentioned before, you know what that would be? It would be theories. It would be ideas of what should work. And let me tell you, okay, so every chapter in the book has a fantasy. It starts with a little fantasy of this is how it should totally work. I mean, my brain can totally think this through and this is how this should work. And then the reality, which is the contrast of what actually happens, how it actually plays out in real life. My idea of organizing is those fantasies. For me to come up with, well, these are how things should work. If you will just do this, then you will do that. Okay, so, if you just do this, then your house will be like that. Well, that's great and that's wonderful, except that in reality, I can't sustain those things. And so I had to figure out things that I could sustain that would get my house to a point where it was livable and we could function and we could live the lives that we needed to live in it. Okay, so if I do, I lost my train of thought. And that is why a book is good, because it's all well thought out and edited and I don't lose my train of thought in it. Anyway, but what was I talking about? I think my husband distracted me when he said he was going to come home, because now I'm waiting for the doorbell to ring and the dog to start barking at any moment. Not that he rings the doorbell, but he tries to give me some warning. Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Now it's 30 minutes later. I'm so sorry, y'all. Anyway, I went and voted. I forgot that I said I was going to go vote with my husband. So, all right. So basically what I'm going to talk about, I'm not sure exactly what I was talking about, but what makes this different from the things that I've already written. The things I've already written were the laboratory. That was where I made hypotheses. I tested them. I proved them to either work or not work. It was me figuring things out in my own, in my own home. I'm a lot of breath. Me figuring things out in my own home. And that's what the blog is. Okay. It's my story of me trying and failing, trying and succeeding, figuring out what does and doesn't work. The book is the handbook. It's the guide explaining exactly what works, what keeps you or me from believing that it actually will work to the point where we just don't even try it. It explains what to do, what order to do it in. It puts it all together and it builds on itself to the point where you will know exactly what you need to do to manage your home without losing your mind. Okay. So the chapter titles in the book are, I'm going to read them for you. And like I said, each one has a fantasy and a reality at the beginning. The fantasy and then the actual contrasting reality. Okay, so those chapter titles are, as I look. Okay, let's see. First of all, the introduction is who needs this book? It's very clear. Please don't buy it if you are amazing at organizing and you just want to tweak your already awesome routines and, find out how to have a magazine-worthy home. Just let's do everybody a favor and don't buy the book if that's you, okay? But if you are overwhelmed and if you need an actual plan to making your house run, not perfectly, but making it run, and if you need to understand how to make it sustainable, understand what to do when you fail, because if you have a personality like mine or a brain like mine, it's going to happen. What happens when that happens? Okay. We're not living in an ideal world. We're living in reality. Okay. Okay. So chapter 1, my first step, giving up on the fantasy. Chapter 2, the worst thing about the best way. 3, bad news. Cleaning your house isn't a project. Okay. And then part one was reality check. Part two, daily stuff, the down and dirty truth about a clean house. Where to start, the truth about habits, just tell me what to do, pre-made decisions, don't judge a habit on the first day, how to use timers, fighting TPAD, time passage awareness disorder, putting an end to the never-ending weekly cleaning tasks, laundry conquered, yes, really, a whole nother chapter on laundry, answering your many objections, get dinner on the table. Part 3, decluttering, the down and dirty truth about all your stuff, how decluttering and routines are codependent. Don't get organized, cure decluttering paralysis, do the easy stuff first, containers and limits and how they'll change your life, find your clutter threshold, how to prioritize decluttering projects, 2 and only 2 decluttering questions, how to declutter without making a bigger mess, head explosions, regret, and re-decluttering, sentimental clutter, clutter guilt, the value trap, sell or donate, and decluttering momentum. And then part 4, change that lasts, other people, special circumstances, but will it last? And then the appendix, 28 days to hope for your home. Okay, so I know this has been a hard sell, but I just want to make sure that you know what you're getting. And I also want to make sure you have the information that you need to make the decision before it's too late to claim the pre-order bonuses, which is 14 days to opening your front door to guests, the printables with the 4 habits, and access to a private Facebook book club. And the main thing to remember is it's your brain. Okay. And you just have to figure out what works for you in your home, in your unique brain, in your unique personality, your unique family. If you relate to my brain and you relate to the way that I put things, this book is going to help you figure out how to make it work in your house. That's the goal, is actually making changes as opposed to just talking about how great things could be. The goal is to help you actually make changes. And that's the feedback that I'm getting, is people saying, well, I keep having to get up and go do something because it actually inspires them to get up and go do things. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I did want to let you know that I was interviewed on a podcast called See in ADHD, SEE in ADHD. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes here, and you can listen to that. So thanks for joining me today, and go pre-order your book. All right, bye.